Hello and welcome to the EV Cafe Takeaway, a podcast focused on that zero emission future that we all hope for. Every week I am joined by one of the wonderful members of the EV Cafe team, and this week, no exception, I have the wonderful Sarah Sloman, or Saz, as I like to call her. Saz, welcome.
Thank you. I do get asked why people call me Saz. Is it because I'm sassy? But no, it is actually just my initials, SAS. But I'll take it, Paul. Thank you for having me on the show. I'll pretend to be JC and put some deeper voice and some glasses on for you.
Oh, no. I love the fact that we get, well, I was going to say we get all of the team at different times. I have had Sam once, but that was, I think Sam got to get 2 sentences in. I only got to get 3 sentences in. It was the world's longest monologue. It was great. It was very fun. Anyway, more importantly, though, Saz, we get we get the delight and the pleasure to meet wonderful innovators, pioneers, collaborators. We can even add the word entrepreneurs into the EV Cafe Takeaway podcast. All focused on that zero emission future, and no exception today, because we've got the lovely Trevor Palmer from EV Blocks, founder, entrepreneur, CEO, managing director, tea maker, everything. Trevor, welcome.
Thanks very much for the introduction. Yeah, you're absolutely right. From CEO to the bloke who takes the bins out, we do it all.
But I guess, Trev, that is the job of a founder, isn't it? The founder and a CEO. I mean, what was that journey like to bringing EV Blocks to life? And perhaps in that process, you can kind of tell us a little bit about what EV Blocks does.
Sure. So I started out my career as an apprentice electrician. So I studied for 4 years to become an electrician. Then I worked kind of in different parts around the world. So I went traveling for a few years over to Australia and New Zealand and worked as an electrician out there as well. Came back around 5 years later and worked in London for a few years as an electrician, and then eventually set up a contracting business on my own. So I ran that for about 8 years in total. And towards the end of that company's life, we were installing EV charging points in like a big scale. So we did 3 car showrooms a week with a very small team. We had 3 electrical teams and between sort of 1 and 2 civils teams working in conjunction with each other, just kind of overlapping each other every single week. And that's where EV Blocks was kind of born from. Instead of looking at, concrete pads drying in the ground and wanting to get my electricians back there so that we could complete the job, we started to move to precast concrete. And then we wanted something to be, we actually got caught out where we'd made some precast concrete, got the fixings in exactly the right place, went to a Mercedes-Benz dealership, and the company we were working with had changed their pedestal. None of these bolts holes lined up. And there we are drilling precast concrete, which is mega hard, and getting it, still a nice job, but not perfectly engineered. So that's where the adaptable concept came in, to make it a universal foundation for all EV chargers so that we wouldn't get caught out like that again. And that was the real kind of birth of EV Blocks. And that we set up then in 2019 and launched in the spring of 2020, about 2 weeks before COVID was announced.
Nice timing.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So, it was quite an interesting start to the business to be stood there on a trade show floor with the organisers saying, we're not sure how many people are going to turn up or whether these shows are going to go ahead because this, the lockdown impending. And the following a week or 2 weeks later, we went into the first lockdown. So not the greatest time to be launching a new business.
But Trevor, you did it, and that is what you do. For those who've had the pleasure of meeting Trevor, we joked there about you're the CEO and the person who takes the bins out, no doubt makes nice cups of tea too, but you are the brains behind this operation, and that has been hard earned through what looks like a full circle from going over to Australia and now having launched the product globally, including in Australia. It is nothing short of an impressive success story, but I love it because it's an efficiency story. I hate inefficiency, and what EV blocks do is you help to reduce that lengthy process of installing by having the right kit in the first place that can be tailored to whatever changes need to be made along the road. People change their minds, and that Mercedes example was probably a cost-driven decision to change those pedestals on that site, and they forgot to inform the rest of the supply chain, which again isn't uncommon. I'd love to hear a little bit more about the product, what it looks like, what's it made from, its carbon credentials. Can you hit us with some stats?
Yeah, sure. So in the UK, all of our products are made with reduced carbon concrete. So up to 35% reduced carbon concrete when compared with like a SEM 1 mix. And then this is a 3D print of our composite adapter plates. In the early days, we used aluminium because it wouldn't rust. So we used anodized aluminium with I used to laminate a plastic that they use on supermarket floors as a non-slip surface. So even in the early days, we was thinking about disabled access or wheelchairs or someone walking over an EV block, because we used to do them in two styles, one with a hole in and one without. So every single aluminium plate was hand laminated by me and then attached to each EV block and sent out. We got to a point where that was no longer kind of scalable. We're doing over 100 plates some weeks, and I was just like, I can't cope with this and catch up with people, return quotes. So we looked for a more kind of scalable solution, and that was the composite. And more recently, we've done this knockout for making the installer's life easier. So that simply just knocks out, and the cable can just pass straight through into your charger. So we've got passive and active in the same adapter plate, and everything in the UK is shipped on a pallet, tail lift to site. So literally just lift it off the pallet into the excavation. It's pretty kind of slick in terms of its operation. And then across the US, where we've licensed the products in Canada, each business there within their region, if you like, looks after how they're attacking their carbon or ESG targets. So with a licensed product, we have less control of what they do with it, but we do know that across the whole industry, across the globe, that CO2 is a big thing for concrete. And a lot of the precast companies that we work with are looking at things like carbon capture or using the same methods that we do in the UK, using GGBS or fly ash substitutes within the mix to reduce that carbon element.
For those of the people that are driving along in their car and listening to Trevor Palmer wax eloquent about his EV blocks, the block itself goes in the ground, right? And basically replaces the need for wet cement, and then you have a plate that fits on top of the block that you put in the ground, and it allows you to immediately adapt to almost any charge point that you're putting on top. So it's just a metal plate, sits across the top, and now you've created a hole that pops out almost like a lanyard with a little bit of paper that you push out to hook it on and then do that. Is that the sort of thing that we're talking about here?
Yeah, just with the adapter plate, previously it was aluminium. Now we've moved to a composite material with that knockout in the center. So we have a non-slip rated surface on the top of that composite material as well. So again, that meets a lot of the non-slip standard for things like drain covers. We're meeting that standard as well. So it kind of matches in with all the other hardware that's been installed in the car park. And it is, like Sarah says, it's about efficiency and scalability. So it's the same product can be installed across the entire estate, and every site will look the same, whether it's in Scotland or Cornwall. and it allows the installers to move quickly. So these blocks can go in the ground, and the electricians can then take the adapter plates away into like the workshop or into a dry area within the property, fit the chargers while the ground workers are still doing the backfilling. By the time they've done the backfilling, the electricians can simply come back with the chargers and the plate straight on and start their wiring task. So effectively all of this work can be done within the same day.
It's a beautifully clean solution. And I was driving along to another trade show, Farnborough Way, big one, we all know it. And I didn't realise how partnered you were with so many different installers and site owners and operators, and I had to do a double take because I could see what was happening. And I thought, that's a slick system. And having been involved in installations in my sort of previous years, it's a tough one. Everybody's waiting for everybody else to finish their next thing so they can get on and do their thing. And what your product does is speed that up. It offers that assurance that it's going to be in place, ready to roll when you're ready to roll. So yeah, I looked over, took a little quick snap, and then was delighted to see you that evening with your expanding team. You now have more and more people helping you to get this message out. Tell us a bit about who you're working with. There is one particular favourite of mine. She's ace.
Yeah, so we've got Katrina in the marketing side, Lynn in the office looking after logistics, Jordan looks after the day-to-day sales, and I kind of play more of a supporting role for those guys. Sharon recently retired. She was with me since the start of EV Blocks, so I was pretty sad to see her go, but she's enjoying her retirement, bless her. So I was like, brilliant, all power to you. And then we have another addition to the team to be announced in the near future as well. So cannot wait.
Is it a furry friend? Lots of people are getting trendy furry dog office friends.
It is not a furry friend. It is a real human being. So
good. No, it's a loaded question. I did it on purpose because you have worked so hard since 2019 to get your business to where it is today. And we on the EV Cafe are very proud to support you with that because you're a thoroughly nice guy, Trevor. And I really wanted to get deeper into that. Your apprenticeships, your traveling, your unapologetic focus on improving this sector of the market based on your own blood, sweat and tears as an electrician, understanding the supply chain and the pathway for installation. Going back before the apprenticeships, what was it that triggered this interest for you and led you to develop EV Blocks? What was it in your psyche, in your training, in your childhood? What inspired you to get here?
So growing up, it was just me and my mum living together. So I was kind of spent a lot of time mucking about with Lego and playing and creating, and that kind of built that very creative mind. And I used to do like model car racing with my dad. So I would go radio control car racing. So then I've got a real kind of appreciation for engineering, bearings, differentials, drive shafts, all the stuff that goes into making a model car and the electronics behind it. And I was like, this is kind of interesting. And then put that in with Lego and building stuff like Technic models and all the rest of it. It's like, yep, I like this creative kind of flair. And then I got into karting and charity work with the Scouts. So I did a number of years traveling around the country with the scouting organisation as part of their go-kart team that goes to all the jamborees. So we go up and set up a go-kart track for all the kids to go on and run that for the weekend. And I worked my way up within that team to, instead of just being track marshal, used to then do the mechanicking on the karts and, started learning about engines and garage stuff, fixing stuff all the time. And that's kind of where it all kind of stemmed from, if you like. We've always had an interest in engineering and how things work and why does that do that. And when with EV Blocks, when we started it, I was like, this is not just good for the UK. This could be a product that could go around the world. So to fulfill that is just incredible.
Absolutely. And you built a really solid business on this idea. You've almost built on your foundation. Yeah, okay. It was a little bit tenuous. Thank you. Eventually, we got there. Maybe it was just the delay in the internet. We'll go with that.
Yeah, it'll be that. That's what it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, you have built an incredible foundation. What do you think it is about this the sort of aspiration within you to create a lower carbon concrete, reducing that. Do you think that this is being sought after the world over? I mean, it does seem, there is interest. And if so, how do you see your part in all of this decarbonisation of industry? And do you think there's further to go in terms of the decarbonisation of concrete?
Yes, there are millions of pounds, I suspect, being spent on decarbonisation of concrete by the very large organisations on the planet. We don't have that kind of resource, so we're kind of reliant upon their research and development to come out to the market. What I was thinking last night as I walked back to the car, would be nice to have more engagement from OEMs. Why are we having so many different layouts of charger designs that all require different foundations? If we can get to something that's kind of almost like standardized, then the installers know what they're installing. We can make more products, hold it in inventory, and ship it out. And we're not making wet cast bases. We're not making a bespoke product for that range. And then when that range, sunsets, all that equipment goes to waste. There's a whole story of decarbonisation just in not making stuff for the sake of making stuff. All the mould and all of the dead stock that goes along with that. It's criminal, really.
I'm totally with you, Trevor. I once called it, I was very unpopular for this, but it's true. Skip fodder, skip food. Everybody goes out on a massive procurement cycle, buys hundreds of these chargers. And in your case, obviously you'll be interested in the pedestal element of that charger. But then in 2-3 years' time, they didn't buy right the first time, so they buy again instead of being a scalable modular system. So it all goes into a big fat skip behind the building. And I've got photos of these big fat skips. I mean, you touched earlier on ESG, of course, environmental social governance. And I was curious to hear from you two things. Globally, do you sense the same urgency for ESG as we have here in our country? And the second thing is, do you really think that there's going to be a uniform approach from the OEMs, bearing in mind that all those incremental changes are what they sell their chargers on? Those platform differences, those tiny differences, is their only way to sell the charger compared to the next guy. So one, do you think the world cares about ESG? And two, do you truly believe that we will see that uniform approach to the market?
I think we in Europe are much further ahead in kind of forward thinking for ESG. Different parts of North America, the attitudes range from really keen, eco-friendly to don't care, just keep drilling for more oil and I'm going to get in my V8 truck and keep going. The price of gas in America as well is so cheap. You think, well, whilst that is so cheap, there's not going to be a big push to move to electric because it just doesn't make sense unless you are on that mindset of, well, I want to be more green, or I want to run my car for free. I'll put solar panels from my house. I know in Australia the guys are that's becoming more and more prevalent. For the feedback from guys in Australia, that ESG is coming to the fore, but it's a bit wide. We're definitely further ahead in Europe by a long way.
I agree. I do.
And in terms of the OEMs, maybe they might, work together for the greater good. It would be nice to see, but I think it's, probably a dream more than a reality.
Oh, and talking of dreams, Trev, listen, we have all got inspiration that comes for our dreams, and I'm really curious to, because it's quite a thing to set up a business. It seems like it's almost inbuilt in you. But who has been your inspiration along the way, and who is your inspiration as you move forward?
Certainly my dad. Like, I started working with my dad at sort of 16 when I left school, and I was laying concrete floors in like big sheds. We were doing big bases together. That was hard graft, really hard. And then I landed my electrical apprenticeship. But all the way through, Dad's been a sole trader, had that entrepreneurial spirit about him, whether it was building chicken coops and selling those or doing what we were doing on a day-to-day job or whatever. He always had some kind of project or something that was a little bit different. That hustle kind of mentality. You see a lot of entrepreneurs talk about the hustle mentality. I used to go out beating on the weekends and they'd be driving the pheasants, shooting pheasants. So after the day of working for £15 for the entire day, absolutely shattered by the end of it, I'd buy a couple of braces of birds, take them into school, and then double my money and sell those to my teachers. And it's like, right, how can I make a bit of wheeling? And I was forever wheeling and dealing even when I was young. And that's run through. I bought a car in Canada for $100 off the chef that I was working with, drove it across Canada over the course of like 3 weeks, and sold it in Vancouver for $1,000, and that paid for my flight home. This is perfect.
So what do you think is going to keep you motivated going forward? I mean, that's great. I love that kind of sense of hustle and that sense. But now, you're a bit grown up. You're sort of, you've got a business around you. You're employing people. Who's going to help you kind of keep buying cars for 100 and selling them for 1,000 and getting a couple of birds, with the feathered variety, and going and selling them for, how is that entrepreneurial, bouncy kind of fun element going to keep you motivated going forward? Because ESG, legislation, concrete, it's not sounding very fun, but I'm guessing you get quite a lot of fun out of it.
Yeah, I am very fortunate to absolutely love what I do. When I was contracting before as an electrician and building that business, that was hard. And that's part of when something goes wrong, say for us, blocks don't get delivered or the truck breaks down or something's damaged. We are a complete no-fuss organisation. Because I've stood in that installer's shoes and I know time's money, need to get this sorted fast and I need to be on to the next job. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time here. So we try and put ourselves in the installer's shoes and sort out any problems within 24 hours, like most of the time, same day. And that kind of continued energies comes from different products or different problems that people are coming to us with for us to develop solutions for, which I quite like. There's also the business is growing here in the UK, enabling me to concentrate on other markets like the US and Australia. We have just launched in France as well with production over there. And we're looking for more producers of EV blocks across Europe. I am so lucky, Paul, really living the dream.
But that's it, Trev. Just solving problems. That's what I love. And I think that's what you love, isn't it? Being that engineer-minded, solving those problems. There it is. That's it. Anyway, sorry, Saz, I interrupted.
You got it. It's not that. You're right. It's solving problems. But I did chuckle when Trev, we were describing how much you love it, because of course you love it. It's essentially giant Lego now. You're living and building your entire dream, and from chicken coops to hustle culture, I think that's what we should call this episode, because you're the epitome of sort of being inspired by your dad and hard graft and thinking outside the box, the EV blocks box, and coming up with new markets, new ideas, and all in the face of adversity, even trying to launch the product during COVID-19, which is definitely not the place to be launching a business, but you did it, and so did the EV Cafe. We share that common thing. We both had made something out of an alternative bad thing. Speaking of bad things, you're in our bad books, Trev. You've been using acronyms throughout this episode, and there's one that I even had to Google because I did not know what GGBS is, and it turns out it's ground granulated blast furnace slag, which is a partial replacement for Portland cement. So this is just a whole other world of concrete-based puns that we didn't know. Exactly. But there is a lot of technical ability in here. And obviously there's going to be a million CAD drawings and designs, computer-aided design work going into your products. And do you have that sort of connected approach with your buyers as the supplier, or is this a you take it to market? How does it work in terms of product development?
Oh, it's my favourite bit. So kind of self-taught on SolidWorks, and I did a 5-day intensive course on it, which just blew my brain every night. I got home, had my dinner. I was like, I've got to go to bed. There's so much information to take in here, but it has allowed me to develop all of the future products going forward. All of the equipment to make the product is designed by me as well, and then I get involved with some of the steel fabrication work for making those machines that make blocks. So a very hands-on approach from start to finish, understanding customers' needs and also trying not to do too many one-off things. How can we make this suit more than one need or more than one purpose is always in the back of my mind, so that we can reduce the amount of capital outlay from a financial point of view and from an environmental point of view, not having too many SKUs of bits of concrete out there. So yeah, from start to finish, it's me. And in America, there's a couple of guys that we work with out there who are also developing the equipment that makes the product. No, totally scalable. So we're able to share knowledge and really scale it up.
Super cool that you can see such a route forward, right? You know, to build this business and to grow and grow and grow. Now, in thinking of all of your building and the challenges that any entrepreneur has, and particularly in the world of ESG and GBBS or GGBS or GSBS,
or just BS.
BS or yes, and all of that sort of stuff. We have a present for you, Trevor. We have a sort of close to closing. It's not final tradition, but a closing tradition on the EV Cafe Takeaway podcast. And that is to present you with the EV Cafe Magic Wand. Oh, with this lightning bolt, here it is. Of course, 3D printed, I believe, straight from Hogwarts, straight to Bedfordshire, and now from Bedfordshire to Northamptonshire. So come on, you
have to take it. There's
the
visual aid. I'll be the visual aid. They're now both reaching for the lens to grab the magic wand.
He's got the magic wand. There it is. It sort of shrinks over the air, so it just sort of disappears into the hand. But yeah, so there it is. So when we present you with the wand, what is one wish that you would like to? You only get one, I'm afraid. So you know we're not up there with Aladdin and his three, but you get one wish. What would that be for your industry, for your business, for the world at large? What is it that you would love to do?
Cool. I think for me at the moment, I don't want this to end. Like what we're doing, I love what I do. I don't want it to end. I think that would be my wish.
I love that. Just more of the same, please. Just keep it coming. And so as you gaze ahead at the future, there's nothing really in your way from what. So how do you see the future? So is those countries that are going to grow, Australia, America, the other countries where you're expanding into, is that how you see the future? Is there anything particular that you're going to be adding to the future? How do you see the future rolling out for EV Blocks and for Trevor Palmer?
Good question. So first part of it, there will be more dots on the map where you can purchase EV Blocks, save time, money, be more efficient. Second part will be more entrepreneurial, being able to have a number of businesses started up and operating. So I love building. So I have my eyes on building a couple more businesses before I put myself into the box.
Oh, I think we got a sneak preview there. Saz, what do you reckon it is?
Yeah, there's no way it's the same. When you said that, again, viewers probably would have seen my eyebrow rocket through the ceiling, because there's no way it's going to be more of the same. For anyone that's met Trevor, he's a dark horse, this one. He's always cooking up the next plan, and with his sporting element as well. I've always had this strong theory that people who are into particularly adrenaline-fueled sports make exceptional business people. And there's a reason for that. It's the hunger. It's always wanting to improve things or do better at things or seek the next thrill, but nobody wants to be seen to be sort of neglecting something and leaving it in the dirt. So I'm going to be watching you extremely closely for this sneaky little sneak peek that you just gave us. And you're continuing to grow the team, and we adore your creativity as a group. It's something that the EV Cafe really strives for, is bringing that community and feel together. Paul, you've just been at the Installer Show, and I just tuned into the EV Cafe news this morning to hear about John Curtis's reflection and yours too. And I'm not surprised. I wonder what Trevor's view on this is, but I'm not surprised to hear that they're not massively ready for this, and it's just something that's coming down the road and they don't love the idea of it. But you're right there, with nose to the grindstone. And Paul, could you share some of that Installer Show reflections? Because it actually does link in to Trevor's successful business.
Yeah, I mean, what was clear is that if people are installing charge points, and many were, My Energy were there, and there were other charge keeper were on our stand providing charge points. It was clear that they weren't really worried about what those charge points were connecting to, and also I think there is a lot of traditional thinking out there that just goes, we'll either drill it into a wall, or we'll do the whole, we'll make our own concrete and pour it and do it and come back a day or two later, and just not aware of the efficiencies and benefits of things like reduced carbon concrete, precast, enabled to save you time, money, and make you more efficient, but also not really realizing that the vehicles that you plugged in were efficient, could save you more time because there's lower maintenance, lower cost of running, all of those kinds of things, and that prices are coming down to be commensurate with ICE, petrol and diesel, internal combustion engine vehicles along at the same time. So there's a lot of important messaging to get out there, and the Installer Show was a great place to be able to try and get that message out there. We didn't do very well, if we're being really honest. There wasn't enough people on our stand, and we weren't getting the people through the door. We need to do better at that, and I think that's all about the run-in and the promotion and the education. But Trevor, I don't know what you think, but is the installer world ready for this kind of stuff? And how? I mean, obviously, partnering with us is part of that. But how do you see getting the message out there?
I think there's two sides to it. It's a conversation that we've had about kind of range on vans. I'd love to have an electric van. I just can't make it work at the moment. We have. Well,
we'll just edit that bit out, everybody.
No, it's the honesty we love. It is.
Yeah.
But we have got an electric car, and that works really well. So it's like, right, okay, we're halfway there with the car. If we can get the other half with the van, then we're really going. Now, I can't make it work, but I think if I was a local electrician working in a local vicinity, then I think it can be done. And there's two camps within contractors. There's the guys who work within that radius, and they only work within that radius. Electric van, perfect, because they can go home, charge their van up off their solar panels or battery storage, and off they go to work. There's the other camp that are working nationally, and I had one of my old electricians pop in for a coffee, and he gave me the reality of driving a van nationally, and he was fed up. Even with rapid charging available, he's like, I can't get home to my wife and the dog because I'm sat at a charger again. So he was pretty fed up. But he did say it, like he's on the same kind of thinking as me. If he had worked locally, it would work. But getting that information in front of installers who might have a fixed mindset, it could be tricky to get them to turn the corner on it.
Yeah. Well, we've got to work harder. We've got to produce better vehicles. We've got to have better charging infrastructure. reduce the charging speeds, or reduce the charging time, I should say, not to increase the charging speeds and reduce the charging time.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Would be good.
There we go.
But it is a really good point. We've just also this week been at the installer. You've been at the installer show. I headed over to RTX, the Road Transport Expo, which again is where the big heavy stuff is, and talking to them and those operators was really eye-opening too. There is a strong willingness, and the vans have yet again looked like they are going to be the ones left behind. So much fiscal stimulus for the big guns, the EHTVs, so much investment rattling around the globe in terms of destination charging and depots. But it is just that thing of size and scale of parking and charging bay for vans. And I famously have my next door neighbour who is probably going to start making me pay him every time I mention him. But he works for Sky, and they are pushing really hard for drivers to have electric vehicles. And he's lucky. He's got a driveway he can charge the van here. But he's worried. His friend has already had to go ahead with it, and the range wasn't as expected. And yes, that story of not quite getting home exactly when you hoped to was a stressful one. It's a real life situation that everyone's facing. So it's just got to be the opportunity to charge wherever you are at all times. And that's something I'm looking forward to. And anything that can speed up the installation of EV charging, the availability of EV charging, in my book, has got to be a good thing. And this replicability, didn't think I'd get that word out. Replicability, scalability, modularity, that is exactly what, Trev, you're putting your brain towards with the EV Blocks team. So I'm watching, I'm supporting, I'm championing you. I really am so grateful that you're pouring your energy into this for us.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Well, you're doing a great job, Trev, and we do very much appreciate it. I really enjoyed my time when I came up to film with you and saw everything up there on your mezzanine floor. It was a kind of an interesting adventure to get up there. Goodness knows how you got all that stuff up there, but there we go. It is making a difference, and I love that focus on time and efficiency, ultimately saving the contractor money, saving the people employing those people money, because there's less time for them to spend, and it's efficient. It means one journey, not multiple journeys, and it's great. So if you're wanting to check out what Trev does and the business he's built, head over to evblocks.com. Easy for me to remember because it's in the back of his
it's
background.
Reading it out. It's reading
Exactly.
It. That's good.
Universal Electric Vehicle Charger Foundations. Excellent. They're on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, maybe?
YouTube?
Oh, no, Instagram and somewhere else. And they're in UK, Europe, USA, and Canada. So just go check them out. It's as simple as that. No matter where you are in the world, Trev can not only save you time, but he can reduce the impact of the carbon as well, with that 35% saving on the embedded carbon in cement. Did you know that cement had carbon in it? A lot of people don't. They don't realize that is a major contributor. And there you go. Trev, thanks very much, mate. We are so grateful, one, for your sponsorship, but two, for your friendship and for the job that you're doing for our industry. Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much, guys.
Excellent. Saz, joy as always to spend some time with you. And until next time, everybody, head over to theevcafe.com. You can see all of our podcasts there, all of our content. You can also connect with us on YouTube. Do follow us there, the EV Cafe. Connect with us on every social platform, including LinkedIn. And we look forward to seeing you the next time. Oh,
except it's not evcafe.com, is it? It's
evcafe.org.
evcafe.org. How dare you?
I haven't got it written down in front of me. I haven't got it written. What? Idiot.
What an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Trev.
Thank you.
See you guys.